Ooh, welcome everyone to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean Stacking the Money Green. Give me a follow on Twitter at Sean T. Green. And as always, Daily Juice is being brought to you by BetMGM. Use our promo code JUICE. $10 bet turns it into $200 in free bets if either team scores a touchdown. Good for college and pro football. Man, I don't know how my teeth are still here because they got kicked in. I saw I was on a bunch of sides the public was on. I go, oh, this is never good. But I'm not one of those guys that only fades the public. I use it as like a tiebreaker, but man, definitely got a little worried when I saw how chalky some of the plays were. And man, I've walked through the 0-4 slate, but literally every game lost essentially on the last play. I don't even know if you call it bad beats. It was just a real ass kicking. But saving grace, I did give out Kenny Gainwell first touchdown in the Betting Pros Discord. So if you're not in there, you guys are missing out. So that 30-1 certainly helped bail me out. Bettingpros.com/chat. Get in the Discord. Always giving out some first touchdown of bets for primetime games. I got a bunch of Monday Night Football picks, but let's just plow through the recap because, it was brutal. Ravens, they lost outright to the Jags. And again, Doug Peterson could have kicked the field goal and then maybe you have a chance to cover the 3.5 in overtime. It's a small chance, but Ravens, you couldn't get one stop on that final drive. You're up 7 with 2 minutes to go and you just sit back in soft coverage. That was brutal. Titans, similar thing where they were down 20-16. Bengals kick a field goal. It's good. All right. Hey, Titans are going to have, time to drive down, get a touchdown, send it to OT. Oh no, wait, they ran into the center, personal foul. And then Bengals were able to kneel it out. So essentially ending on the last play of the game. Seattle, they actually do get into overtime. They have to cover the 3.5. And you're like, hey, a touchdown. We can cover this 3.5 in overtime. We're going to be super fortunate here. There is a touchdown to win and cover in overtime. Fortunately, it's the Raiders. Josh Jacobs, 86-yard touchdown run. Pete Carroll, what happened? The defense was so bad in the beginning, then they seemingly fixed it. Now it's back to being bad again. And Gino, you're making me look like an idiot. I'm out here explaining how you're not bad and quoting how everyone wrote you off, but you didn't write back. Making me look like a fool, Geno Smith. Chargers, this again. Did they have the decency to kick the extra point, go to OT, win by 3, maybe cover with the touchdown? No, they also went for 2. They won outright. Oh man, just brutal ways to lose these games. But hey, hit the first touchdown. So that at least was some saving grace. And hey, these picks are free. Podcast is free. Discord is free. You know what else is free? Your chance to win an autographed Kenneth Walker jersey. Just go to youtube.com/bettingpros, hit subscribe, and comment on this very video. Why don't you comment with some of your favorite Monday night props, and you're automatically entered to win an autographed jersey of Kenneth Walker, courtesy of Pristine Auction. All right, a lot of picks to get to. Let's get it going. First up, the game itself. Steelers, plus 122 on the money line over on FanDuel. I'm taking them for 2 units at the Colts. Matt Ryan's due for a meltdown game, a bunch of turnovers. I think this Pittsburgh defense can force it. Mike Tomlin, just way better as a coach than Jeff Saturday. I think that's going to matter for a primetime game like this. The Colts offensive line has a bunch of issues, and the Steelers, they got TJ Watt. So I know this is probably a similar handicap to the Bengals game, but man, certainly Matt Ryan is no Joe Burrow. So give me the Steelers plus 122 on the money line for 2 units. Next up, first prop. Guys may never have even heard of this guy, and I love betting those props. It's a real DGen play, but this is actually one of Betting Pros. If you guys go to bettingpros.com/NFL props, they do a ton of projections on the props, and this is actually one of their highest EV props. Gunnar Olszewski? I don't know. He's some Polish receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a former Belichick draft pick. He's scrappy guy, plays special teams, but he's been getting involved in the offense. I'm taking his over 11.5 receiving yards over on DraftKings. Huge jump in snap share from 26 up to 42% in the last 2 games. 1 target all the way up to 3 targets. And he has a career average of 14 yards per catch. Again, this guy is not a huge part of the offense, but all the signals of his jump in snap share and target share, while small, I think is huge here. And I think he gets to 11.5 receiving yards pretty easily. Hey guys, have you ever had Omaha steaks? It is a truly delicious line of just great meats. You love meat. I love meat, and it's a great gift. I know my father-in-law, I don't think he listens to the show. John, you're getting some Omaha steaks. And if you use the promo code JUICE at checkout, $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required. I mean, these things are awesome. They come air packaged, in those like vacuum sealed packages. You get the filet mignon, the boneless chicken, the ultra juicy burgers, and the sides are really tasty. I remember back when I was going to school at Penn State, my mom, when I was in college, she would send me Omaha steaks, and it was just like, I couldn't explain to you. If you're eating as a college kid, to get Omaha steaks coming to your dorm room, it was like manna from the heavens. And I didn't have a great grill to throw it on. I was like grilling it up on one of those George Foreman grills that you have in your dorm. Even on a George Foreman grill, the Omaha steaks were delicious. Of course, don't grill these on Omaha steaks. Grill them on an amazing grill because it is an amazing cut of meat. Again, this is something I eat, and I'm super excited to be endorsing these guys. Great product, great steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com, use the promo code JUICE, and get up to $30 off your order. All right, more props. George Pickens, over 42.5 receiving yards. Clearly, he's the guy for Kenny Pickett. And I like the receiving yards over the catches because he has the potential to get some deep stuff. He had like 84 yards last game against the Bengals and missed out on like a 50-yard touchdown that he just dropped. I don't think that's going to happen against the Colts. I like what I've seen out of Kenny Pickett, and I think this passing offense is kind of finding its rhythm right now in a dome, like it. And the number is pretty low here at 42.5. So give me George Pickens over 42.5 receiving yards. Next up, we got Jonathan Taylor under 86.5 rushing yards. This is over on DK as well. He's only gone over this number 2 times this season. So RIP to people who drafted him number 1 overall. You got to be feeling not great. Although who was that? I mean, Christian McCaffrey, he's had his issues. I feel like all the first-round picks were kind of crappy in fantasy this year. He's only gone over this twice this season. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, pretty good rush defense. 7th in the league in rush yards allowed. Last 3 games, they're only allowing 67.3 rush yards per game. Again, I just don't think this Colts offensive line is what it was, originally, or, the past couple of years. It was hyped up as this dominant offensive line. It just isn't anymore. So give me Jonathan Taylor under 86.5 rushing yards. Now, I do have a DGen bet. Give me Kenny Pickett, 2 rushing touchdowns. You can get this 85-1. That's right, plus 8,500 over on FanDuel. I mean, one, he already has a game where he ran for 2 rushing touchdowns his first game. Now, I think my theory on rushing quarterbacks is they rush when they have to, when they feel a ton of pressure, when it's a big game, when it's in prime time. If you're a rookie quarterback making your first start, if you're Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, like, it depends on the quarterback. But I think this is a big Kenny Pickett rushing game, and his rushing yards are set at 23.5. Again, it's a small sample size, but he already has 3 rushing touchdowns. And like I said, that first game, he had 2 rushing touchdowns in that game, and he didn't even play the entire game. So he's very capable of making this happen. Give me Kenny Pickett, 2 rushing touchdowns, 85-1 over on FanDuel. Make sure you get this at FanDuel. or at least at this price, because I know a lot of places have it way shorter. So Kenny Pickett, 2 rushing touchdowns, 85-1. LFG. Jonathan Taylor, under 86.5 rushing yards over on DK. George Pickens, over 42.5 receiving yards over on DK. Gunner, our boy Gunner, over 11.5 receiving yards. And give me Steelers plus 122 on the money line for 2 units. Do yourself a favor. Head over to OmahaSteaks.com. Use that promo code JUICE. BetMGM.com. Use that promo code JUICE. And, give us a follow on TikTok at Betting Pros. Follow me on Twitter at Sean T. Green. Check out my other podcasts, the Sports Gambling Podcast. You know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.